What is up everyone, and we are back with another guide about Phantasy Star Online 2. Today we are talking about how to prepare yourself for the Cras weapon when it gets released for our current version of PSO2 and when it transfers to New Genesis. Yes, your weapons and units will transfer from the current PSO2 to New Genesis. This series is considered the best series in the game for most players. What's good about this weapon is that it has the highest base damage and when it's grinded to plus 35 for weapons in the game, and its potential gives Light Weaving Guardian. It grants you Reincarnation of Fate. It boosts your damage by 12%, reduces your PP consumption by 20%, and recovers 20 PP every 10 seconds. When you use 3 basic attacks, it changes its potential to boost damage by 18.72%, reduce damage taken by 30%, and negates knockback by 30 seconds, uptime, and a 30-second cooldown. On top of that, since New Genesis is just around the corner, this highest damaging weapon can transfer to New Genesis upon release. However, its augments will differ from PSO2 to New Genesis, but we do have some information regarding what certain augments transfer to what. I take no credit for this, and I believe it was posted in Morph Suit America's Discord, so credit belongs to him. If you don't know about him, he's a Japan PSO2 player who's been playing for years, and he is very knowledgeable. There's only a few PSO2 content creators that I enjoy watching, and Morph Suit America is one of them. When he watches videos or streams, he's just being himself, and I really enjoy that kind of content. Also, he's trying to join the Air Force, so as a medically retired Air Force veteran, that made me respect him a little bit more. I know there's a lot of other PSO2 content creators out there, but I don't watch them all. I mainly watch investing videos, and when I have time, I watch other PSO2 content creators. And with that being said, if you want to check him out, his channel will be listed in the description down below. The Cras weapon has 5 S-grade augment slots, S-grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means it's extremely easy to upslot to A slot, as you only need to pass 3 other augments. Ire is the previous weapon required to make the Cras series. It can be dropped or created from Zig, and here's how to create it. You need 20 Primordial Darkstones, 50 Emeralds, 100 Plant Dests, 200 X Cubes, 200 Lumen Fragments, and 30 Ultimate Boosters. This is the rifle version. However, if you create it with Zig, it's going to have a grind cap level of plus 30. If you want to cut back on all your materials, just use Enhanced Cap plus 1 and use those on your Ire series to get it to plus 35. After that, you can create the Cras with the Ire plus 35, Primordial Darkstones 150, Divine Ice Stone times 1, that's acquired by beating the Primordial Darkstone quest 50 times. It gives you a title that gives you that Divine Ice Stone. Lumen Crystals times 4, Diodes times 50, and Class X Cubes 300. Most of it is easy to get and you can prepare yourself for that now. That is mainly by doing the Divide quest, as it gives you Lumen Crystals and Lumen Fragments. Lumen Crystals are created with 200 Lumen Fragments and 350 Divide Metals. Both are acquired from the Divide quest, or you can get it from the mission pass currently in PSO2. If you want an in-depth video guide about getting S-Rank in Divide quest, that is listed in the description down below. I'm not going to go into specific detail about that, or this video is going to be longer than needed. You can also prepare for augmenting it now since the weapon has 5 S-grade augments. Those slots are interchangeable, so don't really worry about that, as you can always easily swap those using S-grade augment transfer. S-grade augment transfer is transferring the S-grade augments from one weapon to another, and you can pick and choose which one you want. However, the last 3 augment slots are limited, so we're going to be focusing on those. In my opinion, you only have a few choices, and this is what I'm doing. Guardian Soul is the best single stat augment in the game, and Phrase Decay increases your damage by 5% against enemies with the Gelling status effect. When you're in a party, most of the time Gelling is going to be applied to all the enemies, as many classes have a passive effect to add Gelling to each of their attacks. And even if the enemy doesn't have Gelling on it, you can easily apply it with creating a weapon with S1 Crippling Erode that grants each one of your attacks a 25% chance to apply Gelling. Don't put this on your Cras weapon, just a secondary weapon to inflict Gelling, then swap back to your Cras weapon for damage. And the last augment is entirely up to you. In my opinion, there are a few choices: Absolute Glare, Grand Attack, Divine Order, Exceed Energy, Crack 5, and any of the Mark series. Each one of these augments are high tier and have a different focus. Some do damage with the cost of reduced PP, HP, or defense, and vice versa. So it's really up to you to decide which augment fits your playstyle and your build. The easiest to create is Grand Attack, Divine Order, the Mark series, and Exceed Energy, as you can just use capsules or receptor to transfer it onto your Cras series. Grand Attack is the highest attack with 62 attack, 5 to PP, and 20 to HP. Divine Order is a medium attack at 52 attack, but highest PP at 10 to PP and 20 to HP. Exceed Energy gives 52 attack, 5 to PP, 20 to HP, 20 to Dex, and 22 defense. And the Mark series, there are multiple different Mark series, so you can pick and choose which one is for you. There are currently Grand Attack capsules, and there are Divine Receptors. Mark Receptors are in the game, and later on there's going to be Mark capsules. Exceed Energy Receptors will be released in the future. Absolute Glare and Crack 5 are much harder to create, but it's up to you to decide what you want. But keep in mind of New Genesis. With New Genesis coming out soon, we will need to take our Cras weapon transfer into consideration as well. In New Genesis, Guardian Soul transfers to give power 1%, PP plus 2, HP 30, and minimum damage plus 1, and damage resistance plus 1%. Phase Decay, Grand Attack, Exceed Energy have no information on its transfer stats yet. Mark series gives power 0.5% and power lower limit correction 0.5%. I believe that's just minimum damage, but I don't know for sure. So if you do know, let us know in the comments down below. Then there's Absolute Glare, power 1%, PP plus 2, HP plus 20, and damage resistance plus 1%. And if you're creating a Cras series, just to transfer it to New Genesis, you're going to have to take into consideration Ether Factor and Mana Reverie. Ether Factor gives power 1%, PP plus 2, HP plus 10, power lower limit correction plus 1%, and damage resistance plus 1%. Mana Reverie gives plus 1% to power, plus 3 to PP, and HP plus 20. That is from the beta in New Genesis, and these stats are subject to change, so you need to decide what is right for you. I understand there's a lot of information here, and the augments transferred can easily change, so it's really difficult to decide now what to make. You can focus purely on the current PSO2 and make what fits your build, and hope it transfers to New Genesis with good stats, or focus on New Genesis content and create something that will boost your attack when it gets released. I'll be honest with you, and I will say I'm going to be trying to focus on both PSO2 and New Genesis, so I might go with Guardian Soul, Phase Decay, and Ether Factor, as Ether Factor gives the best stats for New Genesis in my opinion. Yes, this is all subject to change, but I want to give you guys a heads up on what to consider when creating your Cras series weapon. You don't need to panic now and try to get all your information together. You have plenty of time. Cras series hasn't even been released. We can't even make Guardian Soul yet, so don't really worry about it. This is just a heads up so you can plan ahead. With the New Genesis closed beta on the way and hopefully more in the future, I will be trying to update you with the best possible augment stats for New Genesis as we get more updates. So if you want to prepare yourself for the Cras series now, just farm the Divide quest for Lumen Fragments, Lumen Crystals, and all those other materials that is going to be very easy to get. For augmenting, try your best to create Guardian Soul, and that's created by combining Astral Soul, Ether Factor, Mana Reverie, and Absolute Glare. We can't create Absolute Glare right now, so you can just focus on Astral Soul, Ether Factor, and Mana Reverie. Throughout my videos, I have been preparing you guys for this creation by giving you all the tools necessary to create all of these. Hopefully you kept your weapons with Astral Soul, Ether Factor, and Mana Reverie, so you can just use all your old weapons to create Guardian Soul. Astral Soul can be easily created and is cheaply created with the Raid series and the Union series special ability factor of Astral Soul. Ether Factor is created with 4 Factor Catalyst and 1 Ether Soul. Mana Reverie is created with 4 Reverie Catalyst and 1 Omega Memorial. You can prepare yourself with Absolute Glare by creating 4 Glare Catalysts. You can't create the Photon or Glare yet, that is what's holding us back from creating Guardian Soul. Do not use your mission badges for Astral Soul, Ether Factor, or Mana Reverie for those capsules on your weapons. Weapons are much easier to create Guardian Soul than units, so save your mission badges for your unit. Mission badges are time gated, and I played since the beginning of PSO2 when it got released on PC, and I only have around 700 mission badges. You cannot buy mission badges, so it's highly recommended to use your mission badges for those capsules only when you absolutely need them. I'm saving my mission badges strictly for my endgame unit pieces, and I'm going to be releasing a video specifically about those unit creations soon. So you can create your own endgame unit now, or you can wait until you get more information about it from myself or other PSO2 content creators. When you have all your fodder pieces to create Guardian Soul, you can easily add Phase Decay in your recipe, as Basilisk series has a special ability factor of Phase Decay. So when it's grinded to plus 35, it can transfer Phase Decay at a 100% transfer rate. So this brings you to 4 of 5 pieces of your 6 fodder pieces in Augmenting, including your base Cras series. This is where some people get capsules or use receptors for the final third augment, because you only have 1 to 2 more fodder pieces depending on how you set up your fodder pieces. If you combine most of the fodder pieces together for Guardian Soul, say for example you have a weapon with Astral Soul and Ether Factor, then you have more fodder pieces to work with. If you just have one augment on each fodder piece, like one with Astral Soul, one with Ether Factor, and one with Mana Reverie, then you have less pieces to work with. And combining them all together in 1 to 2 fodder pieces is more expensive than just creating it all individually. And that really depends on your third augment slot if you combine them or not. So if you're going to use any of those capsules or receptors for your third final augment on your Cras series, then you could just make them individually. If you're going to choose anything else, you're going to have to combine a few of those augments together to have more fodder pieces to work with. Some people think it might not even be worth it to create the best weapon in the game with those augments, because you will be only strong in New Genesis for 1 to 2 updates. But in my opinion, it is really worth it, because instead of focusing on getting good gear in New Genesis when it comes out, you can enjoy everything New Genesis has to offer with your old PSO2 weapon. And that is why I'm going to be making my endgame Cras weapon and my endgame Cras unit. For the Cras unit, I'm going to be making another video on how to create the best in the game, and upslot it in specific detail, since creating this unit is extremely hard and is the most expensive thing to do in the game. That deserves its own video. But here is a small preview and choices for endgame units. So yes, it's extremely complicated, so we're going to be covering that in another video. For now, farm those Divine Quests, as it gives you those Lumen Fragments and Lumen Crystals for the Cras series, and the modules required to create the Cras unit sets. You're going to need a total of 40 Shiva modules, 100 Mitra models, 100 Varuna models, and 150 Exco models to create all those 3 Cras units. And that's it for this video. If you liked this video and it helped you out, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Specifically if you want to learn how to create the best units in the game, because I'm going to be releasing that soon. Thank you all for tuning in and listening, and until next time.